There are no signs the pro-Palestinian protests in the U.S. are ending anytime soon. As you can see right here from this map, campuses throughout the country are following Columbia University's lead. They are demanding the school cut ties with Israeli institutions. The University of Southern California actually canceled its main commencement next month, citing new safety measures. And here with more on the unrest that we are witnessing on college campuses nationwide is Stephanie Barclay, professor at the University of Notre Dame School of Law and an expert on free speech and religious exercise. Stephanie, good to be with you today. First, let's talk about freedom of speech and maybe where that line oversteps and when schools need to step in and regulate or stop these actions.
Sure. So for generations, college students have engaged in protests to express their views, to draw attention to issues that they care about, and participate in important public conversations. And as tensions in the U.S. have raised after the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel and the subsequent war in Gaza, we've seen many students engaging in First Amendment peaceful, protected speech and protests. But we've also seen students engaging in severe campus disruption and even in acts of violence, which are not protected by the First Amendment.
And Stephanie, let's talk about the difference between free speech and hate speech and where that line is drawn.
So in our country, in the United States, we don't recognize as a distinct category hate speech. The freedom of speech includes speech that can be very divisive and hateful and offensive to many. But where we do draw the line is between speech and expression versus unprotected conduct, particularly things like true threats and intimidation, incitement to imminent violence, discriminatory harassment, or substantially disrupting events or deplatforming speakers. Those sorts of activities are not protected by the First Amendment, and they really undermine the core purposes of a university.
And let's talk about the universities here and maybe their responsibility when it comes to protests like this and when they do step in and take action. How may that be different from, say, public schools versus private institutions?
As a constitutional matter, the First Amendment only applies to public universities, meaning government-owned universities. There are important reasons why we might let private universities, like a religious university, for example, restrict some speech on its campus that is contrary to its private mission. But virtually all private universities also include robust policies that protect freedom of speech voluntarily on their campuses, and for good reason. These universities recognize that freedom of speech is an indispensable part of human dignity, progress, and liberty. And allowing freedom of speech on campuses is necessary to facilitate real learning and challenging ideas in the pursuit of truth.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on today and sorting this all out for us. We really appreciate your expertise. God bless you.
Thanks for having me.